Now, the issue of punitive tariffs by the U.S. was mentioned by German Chancellor Olaf Scholz during his last address to Parliament ahead of the federal election. Now, just 2 weeks away. Scholz said that Germany should be prepared for difficult times ahead, with a struggling economy that could suffer further under import duties. He also spoke of the Russian incursion in Ukraine as an ongoing challenge for Germany and Europe. Scholz is running for re-election, but his Social Democrat Party is currently lagging in the polls. And we can take a listen now to what Chancellor Scholz had to say.
If the EU is targeted by American tariffs, as is already the case with steel and aluminium, then we are more dependent on European solidarity than any other country. Do you think this solidarity will be there if Germany willfully breaks European law? If Germany closes its borders? Do you think our neighbors will just go along with it? That's naive. That harms German interests.
We can cross now to the German Parliament and DW's chief political editor, Michaela Kufner. Tell us, first of all, a little bit more about what Chancellor Scholz had to say there.
Well, in that soundbite, he was addressing Friedrich Merz, the current front-runner and the challenger from the conservative CDU-CSU, Angela Merkel's party, who is currently polling at around 30%. And Olaf Scholz was more than alluding to the proposals Friedrich Merz pushed into Parliament 2 weeks ago when he accepted votes from the far-right AfD to vote on rejecting illegal migrants, migrants with no chance of being granted asylum at the German border. That could effectively mean border closures, permanent controls plus. And here Olaf Scholz was pretty much pointing the finger at his key contender there, that could endanger the very unity that is needed to respond with one voice and one policy to Donald Trump's potential tariffs that he's put on the table there now.
And just at this point in the election campaigns, what kind of chances does Olaf Scholz have of staying in office?
Well, it's not looking good. Or Social Democrats are polling at around 15%. That's half as much of a percentage share as the current frontrunner from the Conservative camp. But one thing is also sure, that everybody knows that they will need to enter into a coalition to form a stable government. And this is something that Friedrich Merz, the frontrunner, addressed today in Parliament. Let's just take a listen.
All democratic parties in the political center of our country bear this responsibility. You too. And that is why I'm telling you once again, there is the 23rd. Until then, we will fight hard for a majority in our country. But then there is February the 24th. And those ones shouting over there shouldn't get any stronger. Instead, we in the broad political center of our parliament should be able to solve the problems of our country, and solve them in such a way that populism in our country, whether from the left or the right, does not become even stronger. You can't shirk that responsibility.
So Friedrich Merz there very clearly pointing that there will be a day after the elections. He knows he will potentially need Olaf Scholz's Social Democrats, although we don't expect Olaf Scholz to actually remain in a close circle of potential ministers if it should come to the so-called Grand Coalition. The Greens are the other potential coalition partner there. So we saw very heated exchanges, a lot of finger pointing, a lot of accusations today, but this is the man who will, if polls are anything to go by, fairly likely become the next Chancellor, already rounding up potential coalition partners as he condemns the policies of this outgoing government.
Thank you so much for bringing us up to speed there. That is DW's chief political editor, Michaela Kufner.